If you've never been to this channel before, welcome to Lasha's Take. And today is Latasha's Big Mouth Talking Tuesday, wherein I say whatever I want, whatever comes to mind. This is unscripted. I like how Pierce Morgan used Pierce Morgan Uncensored, and then Kinsey Schofield used first her podcast was called To Die For, which I thought was an absolutely inappropriate title. Really, when you think about that, I remember watching Kinsey Schofield originally when she was on Andrew Gold's The Edge. And that was prior to his Heretics channel. And he has an audience of something like 700,000 human beings, you know, um, check in to see what am I trying to show you here? Oh, sorry, it's not turned the right way. I just screwed up my Christmas decorations. Just a minute. Aren't these really, really beautiful roses? These are actually they're wood and they're beautiful Christmas decorations. That's what I was going to show you. The Christmas decorations. And that's a globe, and I thought it looked like a decent background. Okay, so the thing about my lives is lots of times when I conduct lives, there isn't anybody here. Just I have to fix my hair. Sorry. Sorry. My bun was falling out. It was bothering me. And my objective is to look like Zsa Zsa Gabor. So at any rate, Talking Tuesdays, and the thumbnail is an AI creation I created of Candace Owens. And we have to talk about Candace. I've noticed on YouTube it's become, when I first started watching YouTube, it was in 2017. No, it was probably about 2014. And you know what's interesting? Some of the very first things that I ever saw on YouTube in 2014 or 15 was that Keith Raniere, The Vow. And I've often wondered what ever happened to Nikki Klein and to Allison Mack. I've always wondered. But what I wanted to say about Candace is since Charlie Kirk's passing, which is a very, very mild way to put it, his public execution. I mean, let's think of the presidents that have been executed. Um, Lincoln by John Booth, Reagan. Now, I was not into politics then. I was in my 20s. Um, because I'm 54 now. Actually, July. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm 54 and a half. I'm in my 55th year. So, at any rate, where was I at? Candace Owens. And just some patterns I've noticed. And I have to stop saying that, as in, and. All right. So let's surmise Candace Owens and the Charlie Kirk situation, and some really good channels where you can find some excellent information about Candace Owens, what's going on with her, um, on X and Instagram and all of that stuff. Coach Colin is really good. Ian Carroll, everybody knows Ian Carroll. He actually took over for her show when she was on maternity leave, which I don't even think was a year ago, to be quite honest with you. But the reason we need to talk about Candace is I'm getting a little bit concerned about her. And why would I be concerned about Candace Owens? Because she's digging herself into a hole that I'm afraid she's going to find it very difficult to come out of. Why do I say that? The only time I ever watch Candace Owens is on YouTube. I haven't subscribed to her website. I'm not a part of her book club. I thought she was absolutely off her rocker when she was talking about chaos, but she was absolutely correct. Um, when she talked about Mission Mockingbird and, even that Brigitte Macron, she really dug herself into controversy with BLM, and um, she's a real character. And if you listen to channels like HG Tudor, um, and he's apparently a narcissist, and he talks about Erika Kirk a lot, but he still hasn't come to the conclusion of what Candace is by HG Tutor. But what I was going to say is, I'm so tired of YouTubers now critiquing other YouTubers, but it's gotten to the point now where there's a hierarchy in YouTube. Like, for instance, the best example I can think of is Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson. Those are the two, okay, so they're on the this white, sorry, not white, right conservative movement, the Republicans. Is that right in America? Because I don't know if you are all aware. However, I'll just go this way here. Sorry, let's just go this way here because, whoops, I'm Canadian. So for me to be interested in the subject of Charlie Kirk is actually quite fascinating to myself because I didn't know who he was from Adam. Um, Prior to watching Joe Rogan, and I heard about Charlie Kirk on Joe Rogan, listening to Charlie Sheen. And one of the things that I thought was really my hair looks funny there. Um, One of the things that I thought was so ironic, and I said this on a prior live, is the odds were against, as far as life expectancy, the odds would have been against Charlie Sheen by a home run. And it turned out to be Charlie Kirk, a young, energetic 30-year-old man that all of you already know about, so I'm not sharing anything different. So, Candace Owens, I am not the most talented editor on the planet. And like I said, if you come to Lasha's Take, Lasha's take is always one take. So I only do one take. I do lives and I do shorts. So this is why I want to talk about Candace Owens because we need to go back a little bit in time and everybody is ripping everybody apart. But I am most disappointed in Megan Kelly. Why could she have not picked up the phone and called Candace herself? And it seems to me these people just play media games with each other. And watching sort of the rivalry between Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk, I find quite fascinating. But at any rate, so let's go to Candace. Let's start from the very oh no, I know. Let's start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with, with ABC. When you learn Candace Owens, you have to have chaos then, mockingbird. George Farmer, we emerged. Okay, this is where it all began for me with Candace Owens, and not a change of heart because I will never unsubscribe to her, but we have to start from the very beginning. Every single episode that she has had on her lives have been on Charlie Kirk's assassination, and I counted them, and there were 44 that I could find. Now, let's go right to the beginning, and I really want you to pay attention to her first announcement about Charlie Kirk. And I was thinking to myself, when was the last time Charlie Kirk and her spoke? Because she's showing all of these emails from youth, which I absolutely understand. Okay, that beautiful youth and growing something together. I think that's amazing, and I think they had a very close friendship. But where are all her friends from Turning Point USA? And I mean, this first episode she did about Charlie Kirk to my friend Charlie Kirk. But even in grief, there's something indignant about her, but I didn't notice it at first because she's so absolutely convincing. So I'm just going to start here. And I noticed there are about three people that walked on by. So you must have gotten a little bit bored of what I was talking about, or you don't know who the hell I am, what you're listening to, what you're getting yourself into, and where am I going with starting at the beginning of Candace Owens. Because I started listening to podcasts, and I remember listening to the HD3 podcast in 2016, and they were at 10,000 participants, and now they're at something like 10 million or something. And the diligence and the courage that it takes people to build is amazing. But I just want you to listen to this. This was her first video that she made after Charlie Kirk passed, and I heard about Charlie Kirk while I was watching Joe Rogan, listening to Charlie Sheen, And then I watched Candace Owens the next day, and I thought, "Who the heck is Charlie Kirk?" And then I ran into some of his debates. One of his best debates was with a woman from Cambridge in London, and Andrew Gold interviewed her from Heretics. Anyways, this is the first episode, and you know what? In looking back at it now, I feel differently than when I first watched it. Tell me what you all think. And by the way, this has nothing to do with Lasha's take. This has nothing to do with the sway of opinion and the controversy that's going on with Candace and Erika. I just don't understand. Don't really good friends and best friends and wives get together? I don't understand that. But, anyways, from that movie Elegy, when you read a book and then you read it again 10 years later, will you feel the same? Well, nowadays, with this constant news cycle, nobody ever takes the time to look back unless you're a really good detective. What I'm looking for is what I don't know for a fact, but it could possibly be a reality. I think Candace Owens might have led us a little astray, a little bit. Not astray, it's her tactics that I started to catch on to. All right, here we go.
Well, that has never happened before. I guess we could say Charlie broke the internet one more time. 150,000 of you guys were watching, and the system just sort of crashed. And it just really makes me happy that that happened, actually. It was already very difficult for me to do this for a lot of reasons, but I knew it was important because I didn't want the last thing that people had in their minds about Charlie to be
Why did she say, and why does she continually say important? She really pronounces important, important, important. I mean, people with the British accent don't even pronounce it like I've never heard it pronounced that way. She's a very interesting woman. I'm not criticizing her. I'm really questioning her tactics because in her face right now, she looks like she has dupe and delight. Or do I just watch Spidey and the behavioral panel too often? I don't know.
the moment he lost his life. That was what was especially hard because he just had so many amazing moments throughout his career. And as I was saying, I was having this discussion with George this morning, obviously through a lot of tears, about not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature that
Important,
is
important,
made a career
important.
defeating college kids, decided not to go to college, started Turning Point USA. And I think a lot of people thought that Charlie must take himself a bit too seriously. And I want you guys to know that that could not be further from the truth. Charlie and me were always laughing. Yes, he was ambitious. Everybody knows Charlie's ambitious.
Did you hear what she just said right there? She just said, just go back and see if you can catch her. She said something along the lines of, "You guys wouldn't know this, but Charlie wasn't always serious. I don't want his I don't want him to become a caricature." What the hell does that even mean? A caricature? Wait a minute. She's tricky. Super, super smart. There's just something
It was important because I didn't want
important.
it had in mind about Charlie to be the moment he lost his life. That was what was especially hard because he's just had
I didn't want people to think that Charlie was serious all the time, something along those lines. Okay, so
so
continuing
many
on.
amazing moments throughout his career. And as I was saying, I was having this discussion with George this morning, obviously through a lot of tears, about not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature, the cartoon is that Charlie's this young, smart guy, made a career out of debating college kids, decided not to go to college, started Turning Point USA. And I think a lot of people thought that Charlie must take himself a bit too seriously. And I want you guys to know that that could not be further from the truth.
So my
Charlie
question
is
is,
always laughing. Yes, it was ambitious.
is it,
Everybody knows
isn't it,
Charlie's ambitious.
you know why she, oh, no, I didn't, Mom. The coffee's right there. I'm just live right now. Sorry. Good, you want to say good morning to everybody? I'm sorry. Good morning. I didn't realize I was live. That's okay. Show says that to me, and when I look my very best, I just the coffee's right there. I got some for you right there. Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to say really quickly, just those few moments at the beginning when I first watched. Oh, I'm in my bathroom right now because there's nowhere else for me to be. But I'm telling you, there's something going on around here on YouTube. There's something about Candace right now that's I think she's intelligent. I love her angle. I think she has very important um points about many, many, many things. Um, oh, here, I want to share something with you. Just to change the subject for one moment. Right there, my Sophie Ann, my dog, passed away January the 29th of 2025, and it's coming up a year, and that is a boot. And my employer gave me that beautiful brass bracelet, and I'm using it as a crown. And behind are Sophie's ashes. I just really like that. But at any rate, okay, so back to the matter at this. Oh, look, call my mom. And then on the other side, it's it's got my phone number there, Sophie Ann. See, it says Sophie Ann, and then it says call my mom. I found that and I put it right by her. Okay, so wait, we're talking about Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, all of that. I just need to find an appropriate background. Here, I'll just use this one. Okay, so in terms of Candace Owens, if what I started to start to question when her indignance and her she's always like a dog with a bone. She won't stop on the Brigitte Macron stuff either. She's still calling him a man and she's being sued. At this point, it might be smart just not to say anything, but for some reason, she doesn't feel untouchable, and her wings are getting a little close to Icarus, and I think she's going to get clipped. But I don't even think that she's going to realize that people are now starting to look at her intentions and questioning her character just the way donors were putting pressure on Charlie Kirk when he and Megyn Kelly had a conversation about Israeli donors. And I was very surprised that Barry Weiss interviewed and how unprofessional she was. She didn't ask any questions of depth. And if I was in America, I would be an independent. I'm Canadian. I would say I'm liberal, but I definitely veer to conservatism. You know, but, I'll get into some more Candace Owens. There's nobody here right now, so you'll just have to watch the, live later when you have time. But and also the way she went against, BLM and George Floyd, because I only heard CNN's version through all those years. And then I listened to other versions. And it's just fascinating to me, these different opinions. And what kills me inside is the fireman who lost his life at Trump, his rally. And when I found out that Don Jr. and Charlie Kirk, and when Trump's ear didn't fall off, my take on that, I'm not even going to say out loud right now. I don't think I need to. We all know in my mind, in my little pea brain Canadian head, in my mind, he trumped. That's a wrap.